Hi guys, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to continue with the glue book series, and this is part of it. But before we get into like the next steps, if you remember in the previous episode, I said, if you make a mistake, there's usually a solution for most anything that, that might happen while you're gutting your books. And that's true. It's very true. While I was gutting this book in particular, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to blame the way it was put together. Sort of. But it's mostly my fault. There were staples holding the pages, the signature together, and I didn't realize that. And I started hacking away with my, utility knife, and it wasn't going well. And I didn't realize it was because I was running into staples. And instead of like taking a step back and checking what was going on, I just decided to literally take matters into my own hands, and I tore the entire book apart. So this was the back cover, and it is no longer usable for at least this purpose. I might keep it, just for the book board, but yeah, I'm stronger than I thought I was. So, but easy solution. This is easy because the front cover is still perfectly fine. And that's the part that we want to look at anyway, right? So I'm just going to set this aside. So what I did is I just measured my cover, and I got 11 1/8 by 8 1/4, and I just cut a piece of really thick chipboard that I have from Hobby Lobby, the same size as my front cover, and I made a new back cover. Yay! So we're good. But it's just ugly chipboard, so we have to do something about that, right? So I pulled out some scrapbook paper. I have orange, just for the back of it, so that it kind of matches the front. Not that I'm terribly concerned about that, but and then since I also, this won't really show anyway because there's probably going to be fabric from where we put the spine together, but since I have to cover the back anyway, I found this in my stash. I didn't even know I had. It's cat paper. Look at that. So I'm going to use that to cover just the insides of both of them once I get this covered. Now, because of the size, the height of this, I'm going to barely have enough, clearance to do what I want to do, but I think it's going to be fine. I'm just going to cut down the width of it a bit because I don't need quite this much. So I think I sort of did some math in my head before I started filming, because I already filmed this part and I messed up. So hopefully this time my math is correct. So I think I need about 9 1/4. You know what? Before I cut, let's just. No, that's not going to be enough either, Emily. Let's do 9 1/2. It's going to be a tad weird because, this piece of chipboard is so large, and I don't have paper big enough, obviously. Well, I mean, not obviously. I know they make paper that would be better, but I don't have any. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is, oh, look at that. See, that's so handy. I've got the image up on my computer screen so I can see what I'm filming, and then I can get this nice and centered without having to stand up. I'm so lazy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue the book board onto the scrapbook paper, and then we will get this wrapped up. And I am actually pressing the paper over the edges a little bit because that'll help when we're ready to fold it over. We want to miter the corners, but we want to make sure that we have enough paper to cover our corners. And the best tip I have for that is to take something, the same piece of whatever you use. So I'm just using an offcut of the actual chipboard. And obviously I know it's long. It doesn't need to be this long. You just want to take this and line it up with the corner of your board. And then you can draw a line. And this way you'll have a perfect amount left there that'll cover your corner. And we'll just do that on all the corners. Somebody had a really handy tool that does this exact same thing. But I thought it was a little pricey, so I just do it this way. You can guess too. I've definitely done that. All right, and then we're just gonna cut on the lines that we drew. And this should give us nice, neat corners. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and like pre-fold all of these edges to make sure that I get a nice crisp finish on, oh, that's not in frame at all. You don't need to see, I don't know what I was trying to show you anyway. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm just folding these over so when I put the glue on, they're already kind of, you know, where I want them to be. And like I said, it's going to be a little difficult on these short edges, but we'll get there. All right, now I'm going to do my short edges first, and then I'll show you how let me zoom in a sec. Okay, I just wanted to zoom in while we do this part because that way you can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. All right, so I'm going to glue, is that how I want to do it? No, I'm going to do my long edges first. So I want to make sure that I get glue right along that, like the edge of the actual book board. All right, and then to the rest of that strip. Okay, and then you just want to pull and fold. And then I take my, just a bone folder or something, and run it right along the edge of the board where you put that glue. And that'll help hold it in place, or, you know, help, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm not making any sense, am I? Okay, so then we'll do the other long side. And I'm making a mess, but you won't see any of it because we're going to cover it up with the other paper. All right, and then again, just going to run that right along the edge. All right, now, before you fold these up, if you take your bone folder, and I'm gonna try and see if I can show you. All right, so do you see this little bit that's sticking out that way? If you take your bone folder and lay it right up against the side of your board and then push it in, do you see how now it's, nope, you don't see it all because I'm not in frame. See how it's now folded over the edge there? Then it'll cover up your, you won't see, just like that. You won't see any board when you glue it over. So I'm gonna do that on the other side too. So let me, because I messed with this one, let me push it back in like this, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing here. Just like that. Okay. And then same deal, just add your glue. Now, I will say that it would be much, much better if I had, you know, bigger paper that had a little more clearance on the edges, but I still think you get a pretty nice edge. Let's see if it'll focus. There we go. Get a pretty nice edge doing it that way, even with the way the paper was. So I'm happy with that. All right, and we'll do the same thing on this side. For this, okay, so I have like 5 different bone folders. So let me explain a little bit. Like this one comes with the We Are Memory Keepers stuff. So actually, in all honesty, I probably have like at least 6 of these alone, but the way this is shaped is not gonna work for this particular thing that we're doing on the corners, okay? Because it's too fat and it's very rounded. This one came with my Martha Stewart scoreboard, and if you can see it all, it has a very chiseled edge all the way around. I'm not sure if that's showing so great, but it works much better. If you do not have a more chiseled bone folder, you can use a flat, you know, metal ruler. It'll do the same thing. You know, you just do the same thing. You could use probably lots of different things. But yeah, that's just how I do it, because I like that you can, you know, kind of like rock this around, and it kind of does the work for you. If you do it right. Come on. There we go. I think I got it. Yeah, okay. But there's almost always multiple tools that could be used to do the same thing, right? I mean, we don't have to have all the fancy gadgets and that kind of thing. So they sometimes make life easier, but they're not always necessary. We can usually do the same thing with something that we already have. All right. And that didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but I think it'll be okay. it didn't quite, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, see, I didn't quite get it. Wasn't perfect. That's okay. This side's okay. All right. So we'll just burnish that down a little bit. All right, so that's what our back cover will look like. And then I am going to measure to see how big I want the piece to cover. So this here, and I think, where is the actual, okay, here it is. I just want to make sure, because this actually has more weight on it than this chipboard here. So I think I'll measure this. So we need it to be about, we'll do 8 inches because, like I said, that's going to be covered there anyway, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect. 8 inches by, 10 3/4. Okay. And I'm going to cut them both at the same time, so then I know that they're the same. Let me zoom you back out now. All right, so we've got 8 inches across here. By 10 3/4. I'm just trying to determine which part of the design I want showing or want left over after I cut it. Probably doesn't matter a whole lot, but you know. All right. So we have this, and then we're going to use this piece and just cover up the inside there so you don't see any of the chipboard. And what I'm going to use for this, because I want to make sure that all the corners and edges stay, that they're all nice and secure, I am going to use double-sided tape. And then I will use, I'll put Fabri-Tac in the middle. That way I know that I have adhesive all the way to the edges, but I don't squish any out, because, I hate when that happens. Okay, and whenever you're using, double-sided tape, just use your bone folder and burnish it down really good. Now, as we all know, double-sided tape is not forgiving at all. Once you lay it down, it is stuck and it's not coming back up. So I have a bit of a tip or a trick for how to do it so that you don't stick it down in a way that you don't want. So what I do, before I add my Fabri-Tac to the middle, I take off the top edge, okay? And then I peel back a few inches from the sides and I fold it this way so that these pieces are sticking to the outside of my paper. Okay, just like that. And then I will add my glue. Ugh. If I can manage to not get it all over me. So I'll add my glue all over to the inside. And I make sure that these little flaps stay out to the side. Now, fabric tack will move, so I'm not too worried about that. But the only places that I have exposed double-sided tape are at the top and those few inches on the sides. So I can lay this down at the bottom without it really sticking, and I can get it lined up before I lay down the top part. Does that make sense? Let me make sure that I'm straight. I can't really see what I'm doing. So I just make sure everything is kind of where I want it. And then I can press that down. Okay. And you can pull these out. But first, you want to pull off the bottom strip. Pull off the, you know, the covering on that. But then you can just pull these right out. Like so. And you know, it's never quite perfect, but I used to get it so crooked and I would be so angry with myself because, you know, there was no fixing it. It was just either crooked or you had to start over, right? So this way, I don't usually have too much trouble. It's just much better. So I hope that's helpful for somebody. All right, so there is our newly made back cover. And then we can do I'll do the same thing on the front cover here, but I won't make you watch me do it again because this has already been almost a half hour. And then I will come back with the next part because I don't want to make these too terribly long. So yeah, I'll be back soon, guys. I hope you have a fabulous day. If this was helpful for you, I'd love to know. Let me know. Yeah, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time, guys. Take care. Bye.